Hey everyone! Hi, I'm Michelle.
I'm Jed.
And we are also known as Team Chang, also known as Intentional Travelers.
We're sharing our 2018 annual review and what's next for 2019.
So wherever you happen to be watching or listening, we just wanted to make sure you knew that we're happy to answer questions or hear your comments and suggestions. So just head to either the Facebook video thread or our blog post and enter your comment there. So what is an annual review? Well, we're gonna share our outline and the questions that we use for our annual review in the blog post. So if you want kind of the details, that's the best place to see all of that. But I think you'll also get a good idea of it as we kind of go through our results. We have to credit Chris Gilbo and Live Your Legend. And also this year I tried out Year Compass, and we've kind of adapted from all of those people's year-end reviews to make our own. So the first thing we do is we go through the calendar and all of our photos from the year, and we kind of come up with a list of highlights, significant events and accomplishments. And then we have a series of reflection questions to help us process the year, compile our lessons learned, what went well, what didn't go well. And that informs us as we create our vision for 2019. So we choose a couple different areas of focus and then we set goals for each of them. So Jed, why do we keep doing an annual review, in your opinion?
Because you say we should do it. No. We do an annual review each year because it's basically about having information and allowing that information to inform what it is that you're doing, what works, what doesn't work, and then setting some intentions for the future. And I know for me, if I just say like, oh, I'm gonna go do this, or just make a pronouncement as we call it, I might not actually do it. And the other thing is I'm also not really acutely aware. I mean, even for you, even someone detail oriented, and we've really seen it help our lives and transform our lives by taking some intentional time each year to refocus on what we value and what we hope to accomplish.
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest ways we are able to be intentional in our lives.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nice rhythm to do every year, and hopefully this year I want to do more quarterly as well.
We check in with each other to make sure that our goals are aligned. It's fun to plan and dream. So not only do we set intentions for like this upcoming year, but we also talk about bigger dreams as well. What happens in 10 years or in 25 years? What do we hope?
What were our highlights from 2018?
I felt like this year we had a good mix of spending time with family, but also traveling and doing our own thing. It just felt like a really good balance. I felt like we saw a lot of people, helped out with a couple of things like moves. Like my brother moved and your parents moved. But yeah, and then we got to go to San Diego to see your family. We spent time with our niece. Got to be with my mom in Hawaii for a little bit. So it just felt like we got to be present with the people we love, our family and friends, and that was good. I really liked that a lot.
Another big thing, which we didn't expect at the beginning of the year, is that our home base moved and really became a home base. So my parents moved to this amazing community in Monmouth, Oregon, near Oregon Wine Country. And so we actually have like our own bedroom and office now. So that's where we're coming back to in the summers. That's where we're going to be gardening, and that's 2019. So
yeah, but we have a home base.
So we moved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One big thing for me, and a special shout out to our friends Troy and Doreen for sharing this with us. But they shared a podcast episode with us with Joe Rogan and some sleep expert. So go check that out. But it really changed my life. I mean, I remember I really had bad sleep habits and did not go to bed at the same time. Didn't really even care about sleep. I just figured, if I miss a couple hours here or there, no problem. But this episode it's 3 hours long, but it was really, really, I don't even know how to explain it, but informative and kind of scary to think that if you don't get enough sleep, it can really affect your health. And so I remember telling Michelle immediately that day I was like, wow, I need to change my habits, and I'm not gonna mess around. Like, I'm going to go to sleep as much as I can. I'm going to at least get 7 hours each day. I think that's what the guy recommended. I stopped looking at screens or like staying up late at night to watch random shows or whatever, just doing something foolish. But the point is, I felt like that was important to me. I made a change, and now I'm bringing that through to 2019. So better sleep habits.
Something else we tried this year as part of my 35th to 36th year, I wanted to do 35 things. Was it 35 or 36?
This is actually your, well, it was
Turned
your 35th.
36.
Yeah, you just turned 36.
Anyways, for my birthday, I wanted to do a certain number of things, and one of them was a monthly screen Sabbath, and that means for a Sunday, I try not to look at or use any screens. So no movies, TV shows, no emails, those kind of things. And Jed mostly did that with me, and I think we really like it, so I'd like to try to continue that. Another thing we did was we work out 6 days a week, and we decided that the Sunday would be a stretching day and that Wednesday would now be a yoga day. So instead of some like high intensity sweat workout, Wednesday is yoga, and that just helps us stay more flexible, and you know, as we age, hopefully will keep us in good shape.
As soon as you were talking about fitness, I like immediately made my posture better.
Yeah, that's one thing I need to work on.
Another thing that we can reflect on in 2018, our finances, work-related things, income has been growing since we started our business, which is great. Each year it continues to grow a little bit. Not saying that we make as much money as we did when we had conventional jobs, but we both feel like we've been bringing in more steady income each year, which is great. And we've been keeping our expenses at the same level as we've had, I don't know, like last 3 years. I feel like our budget hasn't changed too much in terms of spending more.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah, see, that's what I was looking for. Just like a little bit of accuracy there with that statement.
Something that we realized this year going through the year compass was kind of a new thing I was excited about, I found online. I ended up not answering a lot of the questions because I found that they weren't that helpful at this point. But one thing that was good is it asked a lot of kind of personal and relational reflection questions. And so I think we both realized that in terms of emotional, relational, and spiritual growth, we didn't grow as much as we wanted to this past year.
Yeah, I felt like this year I was focused on other people and work, but also, I mean, you know, I've talked about this. Last year, when it came to goal setting, I don't think I set many personal goals for myself and didn't think about what I wanted to really accomplish. And there was a lot of personal and emotional reasons going with that. Like, my dad had just passed away the year before, and I just wasn't feeling very motivated, and I felt like this year, so that when we look back at 2018, I don't feel like I accomplished much personally. Even though it wasn't a bad year, I just felt like I was unmotivated, where this year it's a little different.
Some of the biggest highlights we had this year were not things that we had planned in last annual review. So a lot of the questions in here is like, what are you most proud of? Biggest lesson, biggest risk I took, biggest surprise of the year. A lot of those things we didn't know at January 2018 were going to happen. Like, I wrote a book. I wasn't actually planning to do that a year ago, but that's huge, and now I'm really glad that I did it. We moved, and we weren't planning really to do that either.
Do you know what my biggest risk for 2018 was?
Risk what?
Or that I put down? I put down horseback riding, which I was not thinking we were going to do horseback riding. I was scared.
It's not that scary.
It was scary for me, and that was weird though, because that's not even a good risk to me. So
okay, what is next in 2019? So we realized that we have actually most of our lives kind of planned out in the big scheme of things until summer 2020.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on calendar for this year, we are going to Hoi An. Like as you're seeing this, we are probably arriving or already there. We are hosting our first tour in Hoi An in February, so we have 6 people coming down to see us for a week. Then we are doing the RV Entrepreneur Summit with our friends Heath and Alyssa. So we will fly out from Vietnam to Alabama and help put on that conference for RVers who work from the road.
Talk about unplanned. Vietnam to Alabama. I was not expecting.
Yeah, they kind of proposed that to us in the middle of the year and we're like, okay.
Yeah, but that's awesome. We're excited.
They helped us make it work, so.
Yeah.
Then we have our other big annual event, which is WDS.
It's the second to the last year.
Yep,
And
end of June.
Yep.
Then we'll be spending the summer in Oregon in our new home base, and we have lots of big plans to garden, grow our own food, you know, fix up the house a little bit, and we want to also host guests. So it's still up in the air if we can do Airbnb officially, but we're hoping to find a way to start a business where we're hosting guests. And then we will be heading back to Tuscany.
Woo! Yes, we head back to Europe. We are hoping to lead our first tour in Europe in Tuscany, our first food tour. So excited about that.
Yeah, working with our friend Kika, who we stayed with last year, a year ago-ish. And then hopefully we'll be heading to a new country in Europe, most likely Croatia, until mid-December.
Yeah, doing our digital nomad thing, avoiding the Oregon winter, and exploring somewhere else.
Our plans are to be back here in Hawaii for Christmas and New Year's. And from there we'll probably go to Mexico, but that's 2020.
Yeah, that's 2020.
That's
Kim,
not
let's,
2019.
yeah, let's not talk about 2020 right now. Let's get through 2019.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's just the calendar, but the other part of the annual review is you set some areas of focus, and this is what ours look like. So we have goals for each area. Can you see it? I don't know. Our areas are things like health, learning, relationships, spirituality and service, travel, finances, work, and then we added an other because we have a few random other things. So in terms of health, do you want to share any of those?
Yeah, I think something we did last year that we want to continue this year is stay on a fitness schedule. So Monday through Saturday, we are doing workouts with a yoga Wednesday, and then on Sunday we stretch. That's kind of the idea of that. So there is an area of fitness basically every day. And then what we're also going to try to do is in the months of April through September, when we're home and have more control over our food, what we're going to do is try to eat a more like Whole Foods type of diet.
Another thing with health that I want to work on is my posture, just so by the time I get old I'm not slouched over, and since we both work at computers it's really hard not to like just do this all day. So I would love some more ideas, but basically I found a few exercises that I think will help stretch and strengthen in the back. So I'm hoping to do those at least 5 times a week. I have like a favorite song that I'm gonna play while I do it, so hopefully that will help motivate me.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I think we want to control our sugar intake as a general thing. There's just sugar added to everything that we eat. And so if we can control, I'm not saying that we're going to cut off sugar because we both have sweet tooths, but we don't want to be at the mercy of sugar.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to just, like make Sundays the day that we have maybe a sweet drink or something.
So the next focus area is learning. And one of the things I want to do is more research on growing our own food. So figuring out start to finish, like what we need to do in April and how to keep our garden moving along. I also want to research more on personal finance investments this year and real estate because we want to invest in real estate at some point. Not when the market is the way it is now, but I want to be prepared for that. So that's what I want to learn.
That's awesome. I'm hoping to gain some more skills with some online work that I do. Then I'm also hoping to read more books this year because I really struggled last year. But I think it's because it was what I was doing and I was like committing myself to one book each time and I was having a really tough time getting into it if I didn't like it. This year my goal is if I don't like it in the first couple of chapters, tossing it, starting a new one, and just getting it done.
It's okay to quit a book if it means that you're going to read more.
Because we realized that it's not about reading a book that I struggle with, because you've seen me read books. Like I can read
read books, people.
Yeah, I know how to read people. No, but it's more about just understanding what situations you thrive in and what works best for you. Which is why I'm gonna need your book recommendations, and you can probably have that in those comments as well.
I think the other thing you wanted us to do together is listen to like life-changing podcasts like the one you heard about sleep.
Yep.
So if anyone has recommendations about a specific episode that really, set a light bulb off for you, let us know. Yeah,
life-changing episode. We're not looking for necessarily a series, but if you heard something like the sleep thing that we heard, and you were like, wow, this changed my life, like we want to know about it. And then one last thing real fast about what I want to learn this year. I want to master 2 new cooking dishes or techniques. Just things that I can always have in my repertoire. As you know, I love to cook and that's something that's very important to me. And so I just think every year I want to master like a new dish that I can whip out whenever I need to.
Our next focus area is relationship. So Jed basically had this idea of a Sunday family meeting.
And you liked it.
I think I've had this idea before, but it really needed both of us to be on board.
Oh, so maybe you incepted me. Yeah, so I guess the idea is that on every Sunday, we are going to try to intentionally set some time, like half an hour, to really talk about what's going on with us. Also to sort of think about what we want to do for the week. Look at our calendars, even basic things like that. Like what do we have going on in the week? And then also a chance for us to look at some of these goals and see if we are meeting them, where are we lacking, what do we need to do, but just setting some intentional time.
So some other things in terms of relationships is we want to continue prioritizing visiting our friends and family when possible. So I know that we'll have some opportunities for that, and this is coming up in the travel one, but we are working on earning the Southwest Companion Pass, which makes it really, really cheap for us to visit anyone in the US, basically.
Okay, so one other thing that we're gonna try to do this year is we are now in a great neighborhood and community in our home base in Monmouth, Oregon. And so what we're gonna try to do is be more intentional there and try to take part in events, maybe host our own, that kind of thing.
Next is spirituality and service. So we'll continue when we're home to go to our home church. When we're not, they have a live stream, so we watch that wherever we are. Talked about the monthly screen Sabbath, which is not necessarily like real spiritual, but it clears the mind very well to help you focus on what matters.
Yeah, disconnecting.
In terms of service, we talked about reducing our waste as a family. I feel like we use a lot of plastic and sometimes waste food just because we're not planning very well when we're at home.
Yeah.
And so working with my parents, surprise, we're gonna reduce our waste this year. When we are back in Oregon, get more involved in the Refugee International group that meets on Sundays. Hopefully you check that out. All right, next focus area is travel. So we mentioned we want to earn the Southwest Companion Pass. We are in the process of doing that and I'm pretty confident we're gonna get it in the next month or 2. So that means that we will have a free companion trip wherever we fly on Southwest, which is in the US and also goes to Jamaica and soon going to Hawaii.
I think she's choosing me as her companion, so that's what the motion seemed like. For travel, we're still going to try to spend about, I don't know, 40 to 50% of our year abroad, but we've sort of pulled it back a little bit to do more slow travel. So for example, we'll be in Vietnam for 2.5 months. We hope to be in Europe for 2.5 months, but not move around to lots of different cities and countries. Over the last couple of years, really have seen how much we enjoyed slowing it down, really making one place our headquarters.
I think one thing I realized more and more is we say we love travel, but to me, travel is like movement. We don't actually love the moving from place to place. That's actually one of the more stressful parts of what we do.
Yeah, it's good.
But we love just living in other places. Our next focus area is finances. So same as last year, we plan to save the maximum amount for our Roth IRA because we are self-employed. It's really up to us to do our retirement savings. So that's at the top. Tithing is right at the top, continuing that. And then a new thing this year is we're gonna try to put away a certain amount every month for a down payment on a house. Work is the next focus area. So we both talked about, we're not sure what it is, but we'd like to start a new passive income project. We have some ideas, but nothing for sure at this point.
Essentially, creating a product or a service that can sell itself and generate income without us having to do much work with it afterwards. The book is a great example of passive income. Michelle's book, she wrote it, it's online, and now you don't have to do a lot to it because it already exists.
We have tours coming up, and that's new for us, so we want to be intentional about how we're going to work together on the tours, because a lot of times we have differences of opinions, or sometimes. Just making sure that we both know how we want to go about things in advance, I think will help it go really smoothly. We are going to attempt a guest hosting business in the summer, and that is really up in the air as to the city regulations that are coming down the pipeline. But it's on our radar.
And it's something we want to do in our future too, like in general. Like we want to be Airbnb hosts or run our own bed and breakfast one day. So this is kind of us learning how to do that as well.
Another work/financial goal that I have is to double our blog income by the end of the year. And my plan for that is just to kind of optimize what we already have going well. You know, the passive income project might be related to the blog or it might not. And then another thing that I want to do more is use different workspaces. So I really enjoy having an office space, but I also like going and working in coffee shops or libraries, so I've kind of scoped those options out, and I want to do that a little more regularly because it just feels nicer.
I can't say that I have that same...
No, you can just work in a chair or on the bed, like...
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me.
The last category is other. So these include some house projects that you don't probably care about, yard projects, but we do want to create a master plan for the backyard because there are things that will probably take a few years, so it's going to help to know like what the end goal is, and then what we can do year by year to help in yard.
You know, one of those things where like you might be getting older if, I feel like our interest in gardening is one of those things, yeah? It's like, even our friends, you know you might be getting older if you talk about wanting to do something in the garden.
Some other things are updating our will, woohoo! Crediting Gretchen Rubin's Happier podcast, create a Facts of Life book. So that's essentially like compiling all your information in case something happens to you, because we've both seen in multiple situations, different family members, where it can just be so much easier for everyone if those things are in order and all in one place. So we're gonna try to put that together for ourselves. We're probably gonna invite our parents to join us if they want to.
Surprise again!
Depending on how it goes, we might also try to share that model
Yeah,
with other people so they can replicate it.
it's really smart because in times of emergencies, family emergencies, the emotions that are going on, the decisions that have to be made, you're just not in a good mental state to try to figure out where is all the paperwork, where are all the passwords, all the things, you know? And it's nice to be able to put that all together.
Another thing that we like to do is see if there's a theme for the year to come or like a motto or something. So I think you came up with this one for both of us.
Yeah, I can't believe you're bringing this up because I felt it was uber cheesy. But it was like, we're planting seeds this year. Like that's our theme for this year. We are literally putting seeds in the ground and hopefully they will grow. And yeah, because I think last year was a big time of transition for a lot of things. Like we moved into a new place with Michelle's parents. We had talked about starting new things for our business, and this year really we are like doing those things, and we'll see how it goes. So planting seeds.
Do you have a theme for yourself?
Get stuff done. No. I was talking about, I don't know if I can put it succinctly in a theme, but I was just saying that for me this year, I want to be a little bit more selfish and a little bit more motivated to work on personal goals. I was doing a way better job of coming up with things that I wanted to accomplish this year. It was just a lot easier and I was really excited about it. And I've already started implementing those things. Like I've been tracking my sleep each night. I am already starting to look at different books to read because I know how to read, people. This year in the Chinese zodiac, which...
Japanese zodiac is year of the boar. Chinese is pig.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
Which one do you want?
I'm both. I'm both the pig and the boar. But there's, if you know the Japanese or Chinese zodiac, every 12 years there's a different animal. Every 12 years?
Every year there's a different animal and there's 12 years.
Yes.
So we're back at the boar.
So this is supposed to be my year. So it kind of makes sense that this year I'm focusing more on things that I want to accomplish, which is kind of interesting. How about you?
I kind of have one. So my mother-in-law sent out a survey to figure out like a word for your year, and mine was delight. And I think that does make sense for me because I want this year to be just joyful, even though like the things going on in the world aren't necessarily great. And yeah, I guess in response to that still finding gratitude in the little things and appreciating what I have and just delighting. I want to be more delightful.
Thanks for all your love and support. We've been trying to live intentionally since the day that we met and got married. Maybe you've been doing it longer. The word intentional is the foundation of our relationship and our lives. And so it's the reason why we're doing this is to share with you just a little bit behind the scenes of why we do the things we do and how we do it. In the hopes that maybe that inspires you, it helps you.
I just want to remind everyone that we would love to hear from you. So if you have a comment or a question, please share it again on the Facebook video thread, comment section, or in the blog post at the bottom. We'll do our best to respond to those if you have questions, and tell us what you have planned for 2019, and if you have any suggestions for the goals that we mentioned or share similar ideas, let us know.
Take care. Happy New Year.
Bye!